We generated 547 leads in 90 days without cold calling or paid ads. The method we used is super simple and it's hiding in plain sight. Here's what I'm going to show you. The 3 reasons why your lead gen is failing. The exact system that is working right now for lead gen for software companies, SaaS, consultants, coaches, agencies, essentially most business models, B2C, construction companies, etc. And how to build a predictable and profitable pipeline that fills itself. But here's the thing, if you're doing what everyone is doing, you'll keep getting the same mediocre results. What I'm about to share is why some businesses are thriving and others are failing. When I started out in the agency space and software space, I would always be struggling with getting a consistent amount of leads, volume sent out, and also just handling all the DM setting, right? Because it takes a decent amount of time. But over the last 2 years, I essentially built a AI system that books calls by itself, sends all the messages, and the only thing you have to do is take the calls. Now, in the beginning, when I was setting the whole system up, I essentially was like, okay, this is getting good results. But the more research I did, the more testing I did, started seeing 1 call, 2 call coming every single day, up to 5 to 15 calls every single day. Now, let me show you what changed. So, my business used to look exactly like this. No upcoming events, empty calendar, August 13th, 2024. Right? Now, this was the last 7 days. We had 47 events created, 38 completed, 3 events canceled, and 6 rescheduled. Now, these are all qualified leads. We pre qualify them in the DMs before we get them booked in. Here's, for example, our calendar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 calls, uh, 1 onboarding call, and then 1 uh, sales call that I'm getting pitched by someone else, and then obviously a lead catch-up call, which I ended up closing on a 1K deal. But essentially, this is what my Stripe looks like. As you can see, 3.5, 3.5, 1.5, 75, right? 2.5, 3.5, right? You can see that this is really generating results, right? And the funny thing is, I don't spend a single minute or I don't even have a single setter that is booking in any of these calls. Now, what exactly is the system and how can you do the same? Now, what we use is Instagram, right? You've probably heard this hundreds of times. Everyone says paid ads, do cold outreach, 50 DMs a day. But that's not what I'm going to show you here today. Essentially, what we do is we send 5,000 DMs a day, 10,000 DMs a day, 20,000, right? Bare minimum 1,000, right? But essentially, we're not doing low volume. We're actually doing a high volume outreach system that's fully automated. We don't have any VAs doing manual sending. I do have a team of VAs that just do account management. But even then, the work is only like 30 minutes per week. Now, as you can see, obviously we have campaign variants. We need testing, right? And in the beginning, it will be slow. But as it picks up, you'll start seeing results like this coming, results like this coming. This is all from Instagram alone for my agency, not even including my software with demos where we're booking in right now 3 to 5 calls a day with high quality leads that are about to pay anywhere from 600 to 9K PIFs. Now, let's go over the exact infrastructure that allows us to do this. So if we have a VPS, right? VPS is essentially a virtual connection to a different computer that essentially can run this full system fully automated, right? So we use Hetzner, whatever. I'm not going to go into the specifics in this video. Then we have the anti-detect. This is what allows us to host every single account, essentially connecting the proxies, connecting everything. And under those, we have profiles, right? So one profile, well, one proxy per 2 profiles. So here's an example. Obviously, we would do this, times 50, right, for 100 profiles. But we have the same proxy connected to the account. We have Cold DMs Pro, use FL10 for a discount code. Um, but this is the software that's going to be doing all the sending, for example, right? And InstaSet.AI is going to be your Unibox plus AI setter. So that's kind of a breakdown of the system. But let's kind of go more into um, the mistakes that people do without really realizing the mistakes they do. Essentially, they're sounding like a complete robot, complete AI, like, hey, nice to connect, blah, 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 or this, or they're not positioning their offer correctly. The thing is with Instagram outreach, every niche really works different. There's different approaches you can take from referral to open liner to bait and switch, direct pitch. Um, there's multiple angles you can take. And with essentially this type of volume, it allows us to really scale and test and go through, send out 5K DMs in a day. Okay, this method, after 1 week of sending out these messages, we got 10% people replied, and out of the 10% people that replied, over 50% booking rate booked in. Okay, that's working. Oh, this one had 25% reply rate, but had a 1% book rate, right? So you're really allowing yourself to test out a super high volume and see what works. So this approach has always worked, right? But as time changes, Instagram changes everything. So the main thing is just really testing it out angles and having a proper infrastructure in place. Now, what is the mistake number two where people really fall off of this? One, they're talking to everyone. They're not doing niche campaign launches, right? They're talking to everyone. They have agencies, coaches, consultants in each list. They only have one account. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really test out. But now, say you have 30 accounts. We have three campaigns: coaches, consultants, and agencies. You niche them down. Hey, we help agency owners do this and this and this, for example. That's going to get you a way higher reply rate because it's more personalized. They think, yeah, essentially showing more perceived effort. And the more perceived effort you show, they think like, oh, someone's manually sending me a DM, even though this is all essentially automated. Now, most likely you're already wasting money on ads, on cold email. I'm even trying out cold email right now myself, and we're sending a few thousand emails a day, I think over 3,000. And I still haven't had a single call booked in over a week. Now, with Instagram, you can at least get at the bare minimum one call every 2,000 DMs sent, right? So say, for example, we're using 10 accounts, 500 DMs a day. Every 4 days, you're going to have at least one call booked. Now, most likely, depending on your niche, you can get calls booked between every 500 DMs to every 1,000 DMs, right? Really depending on the niche. Sometimes if you do a niche campaign, you can get a call booked every 100 DMs sent, right? So it all really depends on your approach and how much you're testing and how much you're playing around with the variant scripting, messaging, whatever, all of that stuff. Like from direct pitches to qualification questions, etc. Now, another main important thing that you need to look into is having a proper lead list, right? The lead list, what everyone even will say in the cold email series everywhere, is the most important thing. Your message can be bad, but if you're targeting active people that actually will see your message, you're getting eyes on, for example, you have 1,000 leads and the lead list, 900 people are active. 900 people can potentially see your message, your DM, your request, right? But if you have a shareable lead list and only 100 people are active, and the other 900 are inactive, whatever, unqualified leads like from a third world country, etc., then essentially you only have a potential 100 people seeing your message, and you're also just wasting time and money. Another big part is people really completely blow it when they're essentially not following up, right? The money is made in the follow-ups. Now everyone's gonna say this, you're gonna say, oh, Adrian, I've heard this hundreds of times before, but really, money comes in the follow-ups. I recently just actually signed a client where we messaged him over a year and a half ago. He booked in like a year ago, and then 3 months ago we sent a proposal, and then we started working with him recently. Funny thing is, he's actually this guy right here. Since we started working with him, he paid, I think, like a day or two ago, something like that. But yeah, that's the funny thing. It took over a year and a half actually, to close this lead, right? And that's the many case scenarios. With cold email, you really can't get that. They're getting thousands of emails, so DMs. Not sometimes these attorneys, some of these lawyers, if you find their personal account from a good lead list, they're not getting DM'd by anyone. If you can DM them, they'll most likely view your thing your DM way more than, if you're DMing a mortgage company, like their business page. But if you find their personal page, which is super easy to do, I've made multiple videos going over that, you're going to be signing clients left and right. Now, maybe asking, does this really work with all niches, right? For example, we worked with KS Siding, and essentially for them, we got them 22 estimates in 1 month, right? That's 22 demos in 1 month, not just estimates sent out, like demos in 1 month. Estimates was way higher, right? But the way we did it was messaging local residents in certain communities in certain cities, right? It's not hard to do. It's not rocket science. You just actually need to know how to do it. So essentially, anything can work, everything can work if you know. Coaches, I've worked with realtor coaches and 547 leads in 90 days, right? I've worked with targeting fraternities, targeting cannabis growers, targeting agencies for SaaS offers, for agency offers, for coaching offers, consulting offers. I really worked with essentially every single one, every single niche you can literally imagine. We've worked with well over 20 niches and well over 100 offers. So how would you know that this system works for you, for your offer? Now, for some offers, it wouldn't really work too much, right? For example, if you're targeting more corporate enterprise level people, it will work with super high volume, but it will not bring such a higher ROI for you, right? But for example, if you're targeting local businesses, agencies, coaches, consultants, software companies, it's a 50-50 hit or miss. Um, it can really work really good. I did a few good campaigns. Ecom, this is not the best unless you're targeting drop shippers, but then even then it's iffy. But essentially for most niches, it can work. For B2C, it will work, right? It just really depends on your offer and then the ROI you can see from it. And getting started with this is not even that expensive. We recently helped Michael, and essentially he had a team of multiple BDRs. They were sending out manually like 1,000 DMs a day. He was spending, I think, well over $1,000 a month just for sending DMs, right? And essentially what we did for him is we implemented our system, 100 accounts fully automated. Then we only had one VA for him just to manage the whole system and upkeep everything. Installed our AI setter into his business, and now he's booking anywhere from 1 to 3 calls a day in the local business, like local company niche from targeting. There's multiple campaigns for him, but the main one is construction companies, roofing companies, right? And he's booking calls daily. So, and he has a higher ticket offer, which is from $5 to $15,000. So, this can really work for anyone. I've said it before. We've worked with offers that range anywhere from like $29 a month for like a SaaS product to all the way to 25K programs. Now, look, you can spend months trying to figure this out, the exact system, watching all my content, and really just trying to do this yourself. Or what you can do is check the description and sign up for Cold DM Academy, where I will personally help you 1-to-1 set up the whole system, get it running for you, and then also help you in the next 3 months start booking at least 40 calls every single month using Instagram outreach. Now, we've done this for 50 plus businesses so far, ranging anywhere from warehouses trying to fill out their extra spacing, right? To realtors. We've helped a realtor sell $650,000 house. So if you run a software company, coaching business, consulting business, or an agency, feel free to book in with me below, and I'll show you how this system can work directly for your business. Now, here's what happens when you fix your lead generation. You wake up to qualified prospects in your pipeline. Your phone becomes a business asset instead of like a liability. And you never have to really wonder where your next client is coming from. We have clients who went from inconsistent months to predictable pipelines. Some landed demos and clients in the first week, while others are consistently hitting 5 to 25K months, all because they just stopped guessing and built a predictable system. And the best part is this is completely run on autopilot. So you can focus fully on client fulfillment, delivery, and client management. And you can also take time off to spend time with family, go on a trip, all while getting calls booked, deals signed. So if you're tired of playing the lead generation game and guessing where your next call or client is going to come from and what actually works in 2025, click the link below and book in a free 15-minute strategy call with me where I'll show you how you can implement this system into your business. But only if you're willing to accept that you won't be getting mediocre results and that your calendar will be booked out and you will have a predictable client acquisition system. Anyways, the link is in the description. Let's fix your lead gen system together.